This break is brought to you by Netflix. Head on over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV to sign up for a free 30-day trial. Now, Curt Schilling has finally come out and broken his silence. That's right, the 38 Studios co-founder spoke to the Providence Journal today, and with me to talk a little bit more about what he had to say is GameBreaker's very own Jason Winter. Jason?
Well, the two major points of the interview were that 38 Studios wasn't given all the tax credits to which they were legally entitled, and then the governor, by making his statements regarding the company's financial health, chased off a potential investor who was looking to invest up to $35 million more into the company.
Are you buying any of this of what he's saying? It sounds like it's coming across that he's throwing the blame on everybody else, but does Curt Schilling actually have any sort of valid points here?
Not especially. I don't think so. Regarding the tax credits, first off, in a 2010 interview, Schilling said, quote, "We're not looking for tax credits. They were never, ever something we were after."
But that was back in 2010, before
sure.
they needed a whole buttload of money.
That was back when they were paying their employees.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the issue is that 38 Studios and Big Huge Games are both incorporated in Delaware, which makes them ineligible for Rhode Island tax credits, even though back in March, just 2 months ago, they were looking to incorporate in Rhode Island.
So
theoretically to gain those tax credits. Yeah.
Right, it sounds like they were trying to suddenly scramble to be able to get those tax credits.
Yeah, and as for the governor's statements, you know, if you were trying to get $35 million from an investor for a company that was defaulting on loan payments and couldn't pay its employees, you know, frankly, if I were that investor, I'd write a big thank you letter to the governor.
Right. Speaking of the governor, has the governor come out and responded at all to Curt Schilling's statements since he's made them?
Yeah, a little bit. Just in the last hour, he did an interview with WPRI where he talks about how Schilling's assessment of things is, quote, not fair. He thinks that information is going to come out. He said he never got really concrete, factual info from the company, but that enough info is going to come out to make his side of the story, Governor Chafee's side of the story, the more accurate version.
Sounds like a battle of he said, she said almost, but you know, I think what you got to look at here though is that Schilling invested about $50 million of his own money into 38 Studios. He got another $50 million, which was supposed to be $75 million from the state of Rhode Island. That totals $100 million to make both Reckoning and Copernicus. Why was that not enough money to make this happen?
Well, as we know, because Curt told us, Reckoning made plenty of money. It was fine. It was perfectly successful. So that's another point altogether. But yeah, you take that $100 million plus whatever other private funding they might have had. There might have been some other investors. Who knows? Tack on maybe the $35 million more he wanted from that private investor, and you're getting around to like half of what people say, you know, SWTOR costs. People say that was around $300 million. Now, you look at, you know, just looking around a bit again.
Is that, I mean, you look at where Star Wars is at in terms of financial investment, but you're dealing with something like Star Wars. I mean, this is something that goes back for years. Everything that they were trying to build with Kingdoms of Amalur was kind of a new IP. Is that maybe, you know, the governor came out and flat out said the game failed for what the expectations, or potentially the state's expectations were for this game. Do you think that's all a fair assessment?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you're spending $130 million or whatever on both an RPG and an MMO, yeah, you're going to have to, you know, make closer to that $3 million the governor thought you had to make. You know, you look at, again, we talk about SWTOR, how it's, you know, at the cost that it apparently had. Some people are saying it's not doing that well based on that. And you know, you look at games like the common thought around games like Rift or Guild Wars 2 or Secret World, they're in the $50 to $60 million range in terms of budget. So you can obviously make a decent MMO for that kind of money, and certainly for the kind of money that Schilling and 38 Studios apparently had. I think at some point he's just going to have to direct his energies inward and figure out what his company did wrong and not what the state did wrong.
Now, what about in comparison to games like Guild Wars and Rift? I mean, it seems like they had more than enough money to compete with games of those caliber.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point, is why he's going to really need to figure out what went wrong, where were they spending money that they shouldn't have. And it's been said before, Kurt's not a businessman. You know, he had to learn from scratch, basically, you know, starting 5-6 years ago. And I think, you know, to be perfectly honest, he's probably not the best spokesperson for this kind of thing right now. He's going to have to subdue his ego a little bit and let other people do the talking for a while.
Sure. Well, hopefully we have more to keep you guys updated here I know that this is an ongoing developing story that's affecting a lot of people, and it's a very hot topic in gaming right now. So we will definitely keep you updated as more information leaks. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next time.